Hello everyone, welcome to another video. I have spent a lot of time at Breckenridge in the past year, and today I want to talk through the lodging options around the resort. Breckenridge is huge, and the lodging options are actually very spread out. I won't go through specific properties, but instead I'll just go through what each major lodging area has to offer and the pros and cons of those locations. From there, you can just use what you normally use to search and look for the price points and amenities that you're comfortable with. I like to use Expedia, Airbnb, and Vrbo. So what I normally look for is just the cheapest accommodation that still looks clean enough and has decent reviews, preferably over 4 stars out of 5. There's actually a lot to talk about, so I will link all the timestamps down below so it's easy for you to reference back. But yeah, let's get right into it. So Breck has 5 peaks, as you can see here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it goes from north to south. Basically, peak 6 and peak 10 don't have base areas. You have to get there through one of these other peaks. And 7, 8, and 9 is where you'll find ski in, ski out options. So let's start with peak 7. Peak 7 has what I would say the best cruisy blue runs. All of these are basically groomed blue runs. They're groomed very well and they're spread out, and because there's so many options, it usually is not very crowded on the actual runs. I always feel very safe here. It's a great place to start the day. Another benefit of staying at the base of peak 7 is that you'll be able to get to peak 6 the quickest. Just quickly, peak 6 has some great above the tree line skiing. You get to hike up and do some extreme skiing up here, and this Intuition Bowl is actually pretty huge. Pat's Wonderland here is actually really great tree skiing. It's bigger than it looks. In general, I'd say this is the best option if you want to get to the powder tree runs first. Between Ore Bucket, Wanderlust, and Pat's Wonderland here, you have some really great options. So some downsides of staying on peak 7, it's a little bit further away from town. So the base of peak 7 is here, and Main Street is down here, just outside of the map boundaries. You'll have to take the gondola down or free shuttle. The gondola only runs until 5:30, but the shuttle will run until around 11, and what you want is the gold route. Another downside is peak 7, as you can see, has no beginner runs. So if you have beginners in your group, it might not be the best option, although getting to peak 8, where there are plenty of beginner options, is quite easy. You just take the Breck Connect gondola one station over. It'll probably just take a few minutes. And finally, Independence Super Chair is the only chair that services the base of peak 7. So you can imagine it gets pretty crowded. Just something to keep in mind. Okay, moving on to peak 8. So what peak 7 and 8 have in common is the ease of access to the horseshoe T-bar. You can get access to some extreme terrain here. Both are about the same effort if that's what you want to hit first, though a lot of times the T-bar doesn't even open at the beginning of the day. Peak 8 itself has a little bit of everything for every level of skier, I would say. I think it's great if you have skiers of different abilities in your group and you want to start the day together, and there are also lots of opportunities to, take lifts together and just like hang out at the base area here. So in terms of the terrain you'll get access to, these black runs here are all pretty bumped out. Crescendo usually is a bump run. Duke's has like this little black section at the top that is usually groomed. And then you have North Star, and you can also get access to these like peak 7 blues if you want. There are also plenty of options for beginners. So there's anything from carpet to bunny hill, which is this rip stride, to more of an advanced green experience, which you can get through 5-chair. Another great thing about starting your day at peak 8 is that it is the most centralized. So it's really easy to get to any of the other peaks without taking multiple lifts. So you can get to peak 9 by just taking the Colorado Super Chair and ski down any of these runs on this side and go through Crosscut or Sawmill, and you'll get to peak 9. You can also very easily get to peak 7 via Columbine, and from there you can get access to peak 6. So the downside of staying at the base of Peak 8 is also that it is further away from town. It's the same deal as Peak 7. It's even a little bit further away, so you have to take the gondola or the gold route to get back. Another downside is that because it is the most centralized, it can get pretty crowded too. But the lift lines are not always the longest, because you'll notice that Peak 7 just has one lift servicing the base area, while Peak 8 has four. But really, I mean, it's just two, because like Colorado and Rocky Mountain is where all the crowd usually goes to. But still, this is more than Peak 7. Pro tip here, download the Epic Mix app and you'll be able to monitor lift lines and choose a chair from here. I really think that's the secret to not standing in line at Breck. All right, moving on to Peak 9. So you sort of have two options here. You can stay close to the Quicksilver chair or the Beaver Run chair, which is over here. Let's talk about Quicksilver first. Quicksilver is a very slow beginner chair, and oftentimes it's very crowded because this is a very beginner-friendly area. Quicksilver terrain is wide and flat and very safe for beginners. There's also a lot of lessons happening around here. You have quite a few options that are within walking distance of Quicksilver. Actually, I would say that this chairlift has the most lodging option around it. The Quicksilver chair itself services all green runs, but it gives you the fastest access to Peak 10 and the Falcon Super Chair. Let's talk about Peak 10 real quick. So Peak 10 is all black and double black, and as you can see, it has everything from bumps and trees to fast and steep groomers below the chairlift right here. I love Peak 10 in particular. The lines are always the shortest here, even though you can see there's just one chair, and you have quite a variety of terrain actually, if you can ski blacks. I actually can't remember a single time when I've been there when there are actually lines. All right, so let's talk about the Beaver Run Super Chair next. So usually there's not as much of a wait as Quicksilver, but you should check the Epic Mix app, of course. So if you start here at the Beaver Run Super Chair, you can get access to some long blue runs right away, and also even some black and double black terrain. Real quick about the e-chair runs, they're narrow and steep and usually bumped out, but they kind of feel like skiing trees without actually skiing really tight trees, so I really like this area here. So Beaver Run Super Chair is also fine for beginner. You just have to ski down a little bit to Quicksilver Super Chair and take that. Otherwise, there are no beginner runs off of the Beaver Run Super Chair itself. So one downside of staying in the Beaver Run area is that you'll have to walk a little bit more to get to town. But it is walking distance. You're just not as close to Main Street as you would be if you stay at the Quicksilver Super Chair. I forgot to mention, so if you stay in this area, you're literally like less than a block away from Main Street. So Peak 9 in general, I think, has the most option compared to Peak 7 and Peak 8. You have many hotels to choose from, and there are lots of condos around here. And I would say Peak 9, like Peak 8, has a little bit for everyone, but you do have to split up a bit more because the beginner, intermediate, and advanced terrain are all kind of serviced by different lifts or kind of in different areas. So it'll be harder for you to all meet up together. Peak 9 base area also gives you quick access to an ice skating rink, which is about 10 minutes walking this way. A hike where you can go see this really big troll. It's really cool. And a railroad park. I'm telling you this because I think this is a great area if there are non-skiers in your group. So skiers can go this way to ski. Non-skiers, you can go this way for some activities. And then if you just walk less than a block this way, you hit Main Street where there's shopping and dining. So now to the downside of staying on Peak 9, you can't get to Peak 8 directly. So you'll have to take at least one of these chairs up and then ski down to Peak 8 Super Connect. Versus like if you stay on Peak 8, then you can ski directly to Peak 9. It just takes a little while longer, and this Peak 8 Super Connect is quite a long ride. And what that means is if you want the above tree line extreme terrain, it'll take you a while to get there. And I'll reiterate again, Quicksilver is extremely slow. So there's some trade-offs here. You can stay at Quicksilver for best ski in, ski out, plus Main Street access, but deal with a slow lift, or you can stay at Beaver Run, walk more to Main Street. The nighttime is cold, by the way, but you can get access to intermediate and advanced terrain a lot faster. So next, I want to talk about two lodging areas that I would call ski in, ski out-ish. Snowflake is probably the most popular area. So there are lots of condos here. A lot of them are marketed as ski in, ski out, but I'd really hesitate to call this area true ski in, ski out. The Snowflake lift doesn't really get you up to the mountain, so it only gets you to the bunny hill. This lower 4 o'clock is just like a long cat track. So I wouldn't say this is like equivalent to the other ski in, ski out options. Another reason that I hesitate to call this ski in, ski out is because while it looks like there are lots of options along the Snowflake Trail, you can't just exit at any point on the trails. So I would just check with whoever you book with how much walking there actually is from the trail. Snowflake looks like it's pretty beginner friendly because it gets you to the bunny hill and stuff, but I would really avoid it if this is your first time because getting back via the Snowflake Trail here kind of sucks. It's narrow and sometimes it's slightly uphill or too flat. You would be really tired from a day of skiing already and you have to like scoot a lot. Lower 4 o'clock is better, but it can also get pretty crowded at the end of the day. And if you're not a beginner, then you'll be able to handle these catwalks better, but I think getting to the top of the mountain will be more annoying than these other ski and ski out areas because it will require a couple more steps. From the Snowflake Trailhead right here, it's about a 15-minute walk to town, or you can take the Gray Line shuttle. You can see the shuttle stop here. It also operates from about 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. All that said, there are lots of great condo options here, and you do have access to a lift that'll take you directly to the mountain and minimize walking. So it's really not too bad. So the next area I want to talk about is this Breck Connect Gondola area. This is another great lodging option that I think is ski in, ski out-ish. Okay, maybe we should just call it like convenient and minimizes walking. Breck Connect Gondola is located a block away from the north end of Main Street. There are some condos around here. It can be a little pricey because you're right in town. What I like about this area is the gondola is really convenient, but you're also right around Main Street. You can find a place to stay where getting both to the gondola and Main Street are very easy. And if you're taking the gondola up, what I would suggest is download the Epic Mix app like I mentioned earlier, and in the morning figure out where the lines are the shortest between peak 7 and 8 and choose where you stop based on that. You can obviously also do that if you're on peak 7 or 8 too because the gondola is very convenient. So this is a great option if you want to be closer to town but also want easy access to both peak 7 and peak 8. Now, everything in Breckenridge that we've talked about so far will be pretty pricey, and there are some options to save money. So looking at Google Maps here, you have a couple options if you want to save money and you don't want to stay just right in town. You can go north and go to the Silverthorne, Frisco, and Dillon area right here. This would be a great option if you want to visit Vail this way or Keystone this way. They're all very convenient, or even Copper. Copper is right here, is on the Icon Pass. There's also a lot of shopping and dining options around the Silverthorne and Frisco area. And the Silverthorne, Frisco, Dillon area is also closer to Denver. If you want to save even more money, I would go south. So you have to drive a little bit further from Denver through Breckenridge to the south, but the lodging here is a lot cheaper. So I would look for lodging from Blue River, Alma, and Fairplay. So Fairplay looks like it's kind of far away, but it's actually only half an hour drive into Breckenridge, and you can find lodging for under $100 even in peak season. I'll make a separate video about parking, but in a nutshell, you can park at the free airport lot and shuttle into town and take the gondola, or park directly at the gondola for about $20. There are, of course, more expensive but convenient options, but expect to spend closer to $40 to get ski in, ski out. And finally, my favorite way to stay at Breck is to find points hotels. I earn points primarily from credit card spend and sign-up bonuses. Let me know in the comments if you want a video on that, but here are your options from big chains. So for Hyatt, there's the Hyatt Residence Club. It's walking distance to the base of Peak 9. And for Marriott, there is the Residence Inn and the Mountain Valley Lodge. Both are closest to Peak 9. So they're kind of in this area. Residence Inn is closer. For Hilton, there's the Valdoro Mountain Lodge and Doubletree. They're also closest to Peak 9, but they're more kind of at the Beaver Run area. So we've covered a lot in this video, and I just want to quickly summarize everything. Ski in, ski out is at peak 7, 8, and 9. For beginners, the best places to stay are peak 8 and 9. The Snowflake and Gondola area are ski in, ski out-ish, so they're not as convenient, but you can still minimize walking. Stay at the Gondola to get easy access to town, but also peak 7 and 8. Stay at 9 to optimize town access, and ski in, ski out directly. Everything in Breck will be expensive, so 2 ways to save. First is to get outside of Breck, go north to the Silverthorne area for ease of access to shopping and other resorts, and go south to save the most money to stay at Blue River, Alma, Fairplay. Second way to save money is to use points if possible. There are a variety of points hotel I've listed in the previous section. All right, that's it. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.